We are working on update 6 already for even before we release the night vision. Update 6 is going well. To me, the most annoying part of the update 6 is the decisions that we have to make related to design and values and stuff like that. For example, how are you gonna decide these lot combinations? What types of buffs are you gonna receive and why? Those things are a little annoying because they don't. There is no straight way to decide. You need to have an idea and you test. Based on that test, you get feedback and you play with it and you change. That takes time. Of course, that meanwhile we would be working on other things, update 7 or whatever. So some people may say, "Oh, you took that long to release this," but it's not like the time it took to release stopped us from working, because it doesn't. For example, night vision. Some people are like, "Oh, you took 1 month to release night vision." It doesn't matter because we were working on update 6 meanwhile. What's the importance of it being released or not? But yeah, update 6 is going well. But again, we have a lot of decisions to make in meetings, and start playing with those values and see how they work.
Another one where it's sort of little behind the scenes sort of thingies, so I included it because it's another little glimpse as to how the process might be going and how the update might be going. Kind of ties into the one before it sort of thing. It gives us a better idea of what's going on, basically, because generally speaking we aren't told what's going on, so this is a nice little glimpse into that world sort of thing.
Eye customization, yeah, I added eye customization. Update 6 is gonna have it.
Brief confirmation of eye customization. Yay! We saw it a little bit in the prior Dino stream thingy-majiggy, but it's nice to hear it'll be in update 6. Granted, to be honest, and I kind of touched on this before, most dinos you aren't gonna really see much difference. I think Troodon's gonna be one of the ones to benefit from this the most because you can really see his eyes. Most of the others, it's the eyes are kind of small, but it's still really great. Again, not complaining. Well, I shouldn't say again because I didn't say anything, but I'm not complaining. I love eye customization. It makes me laugh, and it reminds me of... I was gonna tell this story in the other one, but then I had to cut it because of other reasons, but it reminds me of a pet game that I play. I used to play. I don't play it anymore because that thing's in bigger development hell than this game, and let me tell you, you think this game updates slow and seemingly nothing happens? Wowee. The other game. I'm not gonna say the name of it because it is absolutely not worth it. Don't ever... No. Anyway, it's a dragon pet game basically, and you could breed them and get different genes and colors and stuff. And if you know it, you know it. I'm not gonna say the name because screw that game. It is the laziest piece of garbage I've seen. But anyway, back in the day when it was fresh, it looked like it had a lot to it, and then they kept it the exact same way, and anyway. But anyway, most of the dragons in that game, you could have different eye colors depending on your faction, basically. So this faction would have red eyes, this faction would have blue eyes, that sort of thing. And then later they made, randomized eye mutations, sort of thing. And then they never touched on that idea ever again, and totally squandered it. But anyway, moving on, most of the dragons, their eyes were like 2 pixels big. You could barely see the eyes. Like, I'm talking minuscule amounts of the dragon, itty bitty, very, very teeny tiny. I cannot stress how tiny most of the eyes were. On the adults, the babies you could see them because chippy. But the adults, oh my gosh. But, then you got to another dragon that had these giant Trudon eyes because I think they were nocturnal or something, I don't remember. But anyway, it had giant big eyes, so you could actually see the eye color, the mutations, and all that stuff. There was like one other dragon you could kind of see the eyes on because it had like 4 eyes and they were very simple eyes, but in general it was pretty bad. But anyhow, it kind of reminds me of that, how most dinos have pretty small eyes. But then Trudon has these giant big eyes, and you'll really get to see and appreciate, you know, the different colors of eyes on that one. That's not to say I will not use this feature, because I totally will, but that's what it reminded me of.
Actually, do you know how long the day-night cycle is? The public version right now? If you're not mistaken, the day takes 1 hour and night 45 minutes. More or less.
I don't remember if it was said in the Discord at all. I don't think so. I don't think I've seen any day-night cycle times in a while. And since they updated it for night vision, I imagine it's been changed. So I definitely wanted to include, you know, rough numbers of what the day and night cycle timing might be. Hopefully it's useful. Don't know. Hopefully it doesn't feel like eternal darkness like some of the previous patches. Haven't played it yet. But yeah. Hopefully it helps someone.
Do you guys want to do river currents? Yeah, would be cool to have that.
This one was a little interesting. I kind of thought river currents were more or less confirmed with the whole Pingu latch thing, and I thought there were mentions of currents before. But maybe I'm mistaken. I don't feel like digging through my bajillion Discord files right now to find out, but I thought those, like, the point of the Beppy latch was for currents, but maybe not, I guess. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, so that one was interesting. Obvious enough why it was included. For one, because of the mild confusion over Pingu, but 2, it'd be neat to have river currents and stuff like that. We'll see.
Will strains come with elders? I guess, yeah, it's in the same update.
This one mildly amuses me. So, when the roadmap was first put on Trello, the Elder system did mention, you know, becoming some, like, you could either pass away peacefully or prolong your life by becoming something terrible, or you could prolong your reign of terror by becoming something terrible, or something like that. It was something to the effect of that. As some people have screenshots of it, I don't have one, but I know people have shown it around, so you find those, I guess. But then they changed it later to, you know, embracing death willfully leaves you with a bonus you can apply to a new life as that species, you know, the perk thing. But dying in any other fashion, ... So it sounds like I don't want to go into theory stuff, but my first thought when I see this is, does that mean if you walk off a cliff, if someone kills you, if you drown, you become one of the strains? Because it says in any other fashion and then trails off suspiciously. You'd think it would be a specific fashion for something like that, but I don't know how strains are going to be in this version of the game. Like, before they were uber powerful, you had to consume much food. Although that was only one of the strains, and there were others, and that we never saw. Yada yada. Anyway. I don't know. But so I found it interesting that it was mentioned again, for sure, that strains are indeed in the same sort of thing as elders. Which, again, we'd seen before, it was mentioned before, but then it got removed, more or less. Like, it's kinda hinted, but not nearly as much as before, so... we've seen them decide not to include stuff, so I was somewhat wondering if that was going to be the case again. This is confirmation, it seems more or less, that, yeah, strains are in. So, neat!
Night vision will continue to be changed, if that's what you are asking. About pounce is just a distance or distant thing. If you are close enough, you just climb it. There is no magnetic thing whatsoever. When it comes to magnetic pounce, they mean that when a Utah pounce the back of the dinosaur or the front are red on, they teleport to the side, as they should either fall or just not be able to latch at all. That's very relative to your opinion, because what do you want? You want like a special ability to fail just because you bounce it slightly to the head? Can Carno Packy have an ability to throw Utahs off if they bounce the head, like how Tricky would make it more fair? Well, Carno and Packy have higher priority over pounce, so if you are charging, the Utah should fall, and the same if a Packy headbutts at the same time the Utah is on the air, the Packy wins, kind of.
I don't play enough to comment on this one very much. It was included purely for the people who have been mentioning Utah and the pounce issues. I see it a lot, I don't look at the Discord very much, aside from what I have to look at, and I still end up seeing it mentioned repeatedly. Basically, anytime a dev's there, you can scroll up even slightly and someone's talking about it. So I've included this one purely for that. I've played Utah, but I don't play it enough to have any say in this at all. The gameplay I still haven't posted because I haven't been able to edit it fully because I keep getting busy and then this happened, and so I definitely won't be able to edit it. I played Utah there, not that much happened, and you guys will see that. So again, I have no say in whether or not which party's right, which party's wrong, because the community can be dramatic, and then the other side of that can be very dramatic and brush off valid concerns every now and again. We've seen it a lot. So I don't know which is right, which is wrong. I'm just including this purely because I know a lot of people are very interested in this topic, and it's for them to be able to listen to and come to whatever conclusions they may.
When do you think we're gonna get Sandbox so we can do deathmatch server? Depends what do we need for Sandbox. What do we need? I guess you need to be able to change all the dinosaur stats, I guess, right? So you can have your own balance server. For that, to customize settings, the stats per server, that would require a little more work. And why should we do that if we have other things to do? I don't know, man.
A lot of people ask about Sandbox, so I included this because it's regarding Sandbox. But I think he misunderstood what people meant by sandbox as being able to control every stat of every dino, because the way he replied made it sound like that's what he thought someone was asking. So I don't know what this means for where sandbox currently is. I know it's been mentioned many times it'll be back eventually, but because we have so few playables, there's no point, so to speak. So I guess another make whatever final choice in what this means that you wish. I don't really have much on it. Sandbox is neat, but I think this one was just a misunderstanding, or at least that's what it sounds like.
When will we get a new lighting system? What is that? A new sky? We don't need a new sky.
This is another one where I think it was, again, another misunderstanding. Someone asked, I guess, for a new lighting system. I imagine, and this is just assuming, I mean, maybe it was intended to be a full-on lighting system, but I assume it was more, when will the current lighting be fixed, sort of thing? Because I've seen it mentioned repeatedly, and for good reason, that the prior lighting we've had, or the lighting we've seen in trailer biddles and stream things and all that other stuff, it's all been a lot nicer than what we have in the game currently. And even with night vision being in, it sounds like the lighting thing hasn't been reverted or whatever. It looks like trash, basically, and people want it to not look like trash. So I imagine, I don't know if this was the intent, but I assume that was supposed to be the question. When will the lighting we have get fixed or reverted or what have you? And then it was misinterpreted because easy enough, because you're asking for a lighting system, or I imagine that was the question. I don't know. I didn't see the comment, so I can only go by what he said, and usually he reads them out, so I assume, but I don't know. I just assume this is another thing where it was like sandbox and it just got misunderstood. But whatever, what have you, no word on lighting, it sounds like.
If you guys want to simply push an animal out from the beginning of development for it, how long on average do you think it would take to release it publicly? That's a tricky question because, as always, whatever we say, some people use that against us. That's one of the reasons that I thought several times to never stream anymore and even leave Discord. Yeah, I thought that several times and can still happen. People play stupid just to attack us for no reason. You know what? I think... never mind. Forget. Okay, so if you wanted to push an animal out from the beginning of development for it, how long on average do you think it would take to release it publicly? In a programming perspective, the only thing that's going to affect the time is the special ability for it, because all the rest is done. We don't have to do movement because movement is done. You know, we don't have to do swimming unless the swimming is a special ability. For example, BP has a special swimming system, and that didn't exist because it's different for Dinosuchus, so you need to create that. Otherwise, it's done. For example, pickup is done, eating is done, so you don't need to do that again, right? So it's kind of fast to do. But then you get animation. How long takes all the animations required to be done? I cannot answer that because I'm not an animator, and I know the animation team is 2 people and they have a lot to do, so it's not fair to say, oh, it would take like a week, a month, a year. I have no clue. For a programming perspective, it's quite fast. It is fast, that's it. how fast you would say, like a week, 2 week. Yeah, maybe depend the dinosaur. It can take fucking days. But why? Why? We need to make it sure it works well with all the dinosaurs. Then of course you have the balance part of it. But if you really wanted to release a dinosaur in a week, it's not impossible. It's just a type of stress that the team doesn't need and doesn't deserve. Basically that.
Included, again, for obvious reasons, a lot of insight on the background stuff and what have you, plus some other interesting bits for those interested in that sort of thing. This was also, I think, where the Pingu's swimming thing was mentioned, and I imagine it's because, you know, Pingu can go above the water and all that, and Asuka's can't, although that'd look pretty hilarious. He can't do that. Or at least not yet. I mean, there's still that vertical lunge we've heard about. Someday, maybe, he'll be able to shoot out of the water. But, anyhow, more or less obvious why this one was included. Some interesting little back biddles on how things are made, and, other interesting things.
Are you guys planning to add a Rex soon? Well, if you ask Dondi, he would say yes! Immediately! But if you ask the rest of the team, T-Rex in the next update. Maybe, who knows? People may ask, oh, you have T-Rex right there, why you don't release it? Well, basically, it's not just a programming thing. Doesn't matter if we have movement done, bite attacking done, and even if we have all the values done, you still need to make sure that the T-Rex will work well with all dinosaurs visually. For example, what happens if a Utah pounds a T-Rex? Do we have the animations for it? Can it buck? How many Utahs can pounce a T-Rex? And when you start to pick all those little things and putting them on a list, suddenly you have a significant amount of stuff to be done. To you it may not look much, because oh, it's just this and just this, but you have 10 little things, and those 10 little things is quite a lot of work. Maybe not for programming, but maybe for the art team, maybe for the animation team. And if one of them is not done, you can't release, right? What's the point of having a T-Rex and it doesn't do anything? It's T-posing. So basically, to release a dinosaur, everyone kinda needs to work for that dinosaur to be released. We can't, basically what I'm saying is that we can't release something that's 90% done. It needs to be 100% done. That's the annoying part. We have a lot of things done, but not 100%, so.
This one, again, obvious. A little bit of nuggets of wisdom on Rex. Well, information, not wisdom, I guess I should say. But a little bit of information on the Rex, because it's been a while since we've heard very much about it. There's a few more later on, I don't know where that's gonna end up in editing, but this little set I put together because, again, nothing may come of it. The Rex next update joke thing, or possible joke thing, but included purely because it might as well. The rest of it about the creation of the dinos and wanting it to be 100% complete upon implementation and stuff like that. I just want to look back at the Trudon thing and the 100% complete comment. And then of course there's Dryo. That's completely kind of in a spot right now, I guess you could say. So it seemed a little weird. I think it was about, you know, other completeness, like animations and stuff, but the 100% to me just made me think of the other things that aren't or weren't 100% on release, and I just scratched my head a little bit.
Filipe, will Hex be able to hold things down as shown in the concept? To pin them down, yeah.
Rex news! Yay! A little bit clearer this time around. Granted, I don't know where this will be put in editing, I guess, but anyway, better Rex news! Yay! I think it was mentioned in Tapwing's thing alongside the Rex concept art back in the dev blog, that Rex was gonna have some stuff that would make it very strong in a 1v1 situation. So I assume this is part of that. It sounds like it would be. My understanding of it was some sort of, you know, pinning, grabbing thing. But it's nice to hear it. Yeah. Yay! Granted, it'll probably be a very, very, very long time before we ever see it unless it's put in as AI first, which would be a neat idea. But, yeah. Nice to hear, I guess.
No news on Allosaur.
Self-explanatory, included it because nothing on Allo. That's it. I know a lot of people ask about Allo, especially after the concept art was dropped. He's one of the favorites, but yeah, got nothing on him. Sorry, guys.
One question about the Allo model: does it just look small on the concept art, or will it really be that small? Doesn't matter. You know, if we needed to increase the size of the model in game, we are gonna do it. The concept is just a concept. It doesn't need it to be 100% accurate at all. It could be just a perspective, you know. Maybe the way the camera is. I not a draw. I don't know how to draw, but sometimes depending the camera angle, it may look like small, but it isn't. You know, it's just don't worry about it, man. Seriously.
This one was because, I mean, a lot of people are really invested in Allo. So I don't know if there's been a lot of conversation regarding Allo being tiny in its concept art. I haven't looked. I haven't seen anything about that until now. It wouldn't surprise me if there's some huge thing about that, or this could be just a one-off. I honestly have no idea. But I included it purely because a lot of people really like Allo, and this is about Allo. So I guess, again, take whatever you wish from it. Being able to resize the model, it sounds easy enough, makes sense to me. I don't know, but I don't know if this was some big thing somewhere. I just know, oh, it's Allo, so a lot of people are going to want to see it, so here you
go. We are not too worried about the Unreal 5 now, because there are some bugs in there that I just dislike a lot. For example, the nanite is a good tool, but it doesn't work with translucent stuff, you know? So for example, foliage uses translucent material. Nanite doesn't work with it. So our foliage could not use nanite. And considering the foliage is everywhere and it's something that affects performance the most probably, what's the point? So I guess when they get that done, like foliage now can benefit from nanite, then I would be much more interested. So
another of the, including purely because this is mentioned repeatedly, I have no opinion one way or another regarding the Unreal Engine 5 thing. Like, it looks fancy and stuff, it's really cool looking, but it's not something I'm actively going, oh my gosh, they gotta do it right now, sort of thing. It seems to be asked a lot, though, so I included this in for those more familiar with that sort of thing. It was certainly interesting to hear bits and pieces on why or why not. I mean, bugs are expected with a new engine, so yeah, understandable. So make of it what you will, once again.
So question, when the game get updated to Unreal 5, is it possible to get bigger server players number? Probably not.
Another on the Unreal 5 thing, it basically explains itself, and it's pretty self-explanatory why I included it. A lot of people really want more server slots and things like that, for, you know, obvious reasons. The map can feel very empty sometimes. It sounds like that won't be a thing, so there we go.
Will humans have some night vision goggles or something? Yeah, something. Of course, it's not gonna be so easy to find or to get it, you know, but you should have some night vision goggles.
Human night vision has been mentioned in the past, but it's been a good long while, so I figured toss this one in again. So it was included to more or less update on the fact that it sounds like night vision is still planned for humans. Sounds like it'll be very rare. Stuff we already basically knew, but I mean, not everyone keeps up on that stuff and it hasn't been mentioned for a long time, so I'll toss it right in here.
Strafing is something we can add in the future, but that's not coming until like the game is done. We have absolute nothing to do. Then, let's add strafe, you know. Otherwise, just forget it.
And this one was just stuff on strafing. Some people have asked about strafing every now and again, or strafing, or whatever. And it sounds like possibly, maybe, kinda, but it's gonna be a long time. So don't hold your breath. Alright, with that, the stream's done. We're all free until the next one. We'll see whenever that one is, I guess. But, yeah, overall, pretty good. I like the dinosaur parts a lot, skin parts a lot. Hearing about the venom and the septic bite was nice. I'd say those were probably my favorites. The rest were just kind of there, but, I mean, a lot of the stuff I included are things that have gone around repeatedly, so I'm sure there's people out there who were like, oh, yay, an answer to that question, or whatever. But, yay! All done now. Not much else to say. Most of the good stuff was in the other video. I wrapped that one up already and did like 20 minutes of talking, apparently. Definitely not this time. I'm done. I'm out. Good night, everyone, or good morning, whatever. Goodbye!
Thank you.
I can't believe my coat's been cut. I'll come over to you. Nakey!